Government has dropped its requirement for South Africans to wear masks in public places, but the Labour Minister says employers can still require workers to mask up. Minister Thulas Nxesi republished the regulations guidelining workplaces on Friday. Well, if you're confused, Labour lawyer Professor Osborne Molatudi is here. Professor, is it correct to say your employer may still say you have to, it's compulsory for you to wear a mask at work?
That's a small correction. I wish I am professor, so I still remain Osborne Molatudi as an attorney.
All right, we apologize about that, but perhaps we're predicting your future. Thank you. So is that a correct interpretation, very simply?
Yes, it is. I think the challenge that your viewers need to understand is that as much as the Minister of Health has repealed the regulations regarding the wearing of masks in public places, repealing the regulation dealing with gatherings and the entry into our country by foreigners, there is still an obligation on employers to create a safe work.
Mr. Molatudi, okay, we're having a huge technical problem. Let me try again in case you can hear me. All right, we've lost him. What a pity, because we have to talk about vaccine mandates. It's also been reported that employees also have rights here, and some workers may still say that they fear exposure to COVID-19. So is it still a case where workplaces have to try and accommodate those workers? How does it all work now? Hopefully, we'll get the attorney back a little bit later on. Please clarify, what are the rights of workplaces, of employers regarding the wearing of masks, and also can they still enforce vaccine mandates?
Yes, and apologies to our viewers, it's the effect of load shedding. I was just saying that there is an obligation placed on employers in terms of the Occupational Health and Safety Act to maintain and keep a safe workplace. And one of the ways is that they may require employees to still continue wearing masks. But before they could do so, they need to conduct a risk assessment. And that risk assessment cannot be conducted unilaterally. They need to conduct it with stakeholders in the workplace, employee representatives, and to identify which employees are vulnerable, which areas require employees to continue wearing masks, and which employees may be required to be vaccinated, especially those employees who may still have underlying conditions. So think about the retail and think about the mining, think about any workplaces where there will still be access to a large group of employees. And the reason being that this is the law. This is the law that has allowed the minister to publish the Code of Good Practice on managing COVID-19 in the workplace, more so because it has been identified as a hazardous agent, and that is why that obligation remains. Now, to answer your question on vaccination, the employers may still require employees to be vaccinated if they have a policy in place that requires employees to do so. Now, without expecting your next question, the implication of this is that we may see a rise and increase in insubordination cases where some employees may refuse to say, you and the Minister of Health are talking past each other. He has repealed the laws requiring us to wear masks. You are now requiring us to do so in the workplace. But the employers will be justified because the Code of Good Practice for managing COVID-19 in the workplace has not yet been repealed. In fact, it got published 2 days after the Minister of Health repealed the regulations on the wearing of masks in the public. That is the 22nd June, and then the 24th of June, the Minister of Employment and Labour then published this new code of practice. I thank you.
Well, thank you. And the Labour Minister has said, yes, these regulations mean that employers can still require you to wear masks, and you've clarified the vaccine mandate. But you say it can't be arbitrary. There has to be some discussion. I've walked into shops and clearly the staff are still required to wear masks. So is that fair enough? For now, employers can say, wear your masks, but we will do some consultation and then we'll make a final decision.
Just to clarify, the consultation is about the conducting of the risk assessment. Employers may not unilaterally accept a situation where a health risk assessment is implemented without getting employees to participate in the to participate in the conducting of the risk assessment. So it has to be a joint exercise by both the employer and representatives of employees in that workplace. And once that is done, there will then be an assessment as to whether we need a policy to have the employees vaccinated, to have the employees identified, to require a certain category of employees to work from home, etc. So in a retail, for instance, when you go into a mall, you are not required to wear a mask. But when you enter a retail store, you may find that the owner of that retail store still requires its employees to wear masks. Yeah. It's all about voluntarism and passing the personal responsibility on us as citizens, on us as customers, shop, etc., to take responsibility for our own health. Yeah.
Mr. Molatudi, can you now quickly describe the rights of workers? Previously, they were allowed to say, I'm scared of COVID-19 and I really want to work from home. Try and accommodate me. Is that still the case? All right, what a pity. We lost the attorney, Osborne Molatudi, again, unfortunately, but he has clarified at least the rights of the workplace. And we'll bring you much, much more. Let's take a short break.